because as you can probably tell, the mist is starting to come down, which is fantastic. Okay, let me just walk you through what I'm taking photographs. I've not moved since I spoke to you last. I've just pivoted round ever so slightly. And you see my setup, and there's this standalone, kind of standalone. There's obviously trees behind it there, which is kind of unfortunate, but this is just starting to be a wee bit more prominent, because as you can probably tell, the mist is starting to come down, which is fantastic. All that busyness with trees overlapping and not being able to identify a subject, the mist helps massively, especially in the backdrop. What I've done here, I've taken a picture with the 1740, but I've popped the 50mm on again, and I've brought myself back a bit because it was just a wee bit too tight. Taken the aperture right down, opened it right up to 1.4 again, in the hope that the mist shrouded trees in the background will become more soft, less sharp because of that wide aperture. That's the plan anyway. We'll see. It's just unfortunate there is a little kind of sapling just about here, which it kind of it takes away from the isolation of that one tree, that one subject. But that's nature. We'll have to live with it. If there's any encroachment, and they might be able to do some adjusting in Photoshop to remove it, to make the image a little more stark and clear and minimal, just on that one tree. Okay, I have rounded the corner on the path I was on, and I've come across this lock. I'm not too sure if this is lock Ard, or it's another lock, or it's a little lock. I have absolutely no idea. I've looked on Google Maps on my phone, and I seem to be quite a distance away from any water. Not as close as it should be reading, considering it's literally just right there. So, not an awful lot going on. The light, it is flat. There's absolutely zero excitement in the light, and there's no mist. I feel like I've been chasing mist. You usually chase light when you're a photographer. This past half hour I've just been kind of chasing the mist, because every so often you see it just starting to come down and smother the pine trees, and I speed walk towards where that mist is, and when I get there, yeah, vanished. But I've got this nice little possible composition here. If I'll just spin you around, I can point it out to you. It's kind of hard to tell, but fundamentally these two trees here and there, they're creating like a natural frame. They might not be in shot, but it's certainly opened up a possibility of taking an image there, which has got this really kind of aqua turquoise moss that's hanging on the rocks, and there is a little sole tree on it as well. I mean, it's very bright. It comes across very bright on this camera because of the exposure's open. If I take a picture there, get a long exposure with I can take a picture there with a long exposure, and hopefully that'll there's not an awful lot of movement in the water, just a couple of ripples. That'll kind of kill that, and you get a nice reflection of that turquoisey green, light green. I think it's like an algae moss type of thing, and there's a couple of trees within it as well. So it's not great. I'm really not expecting much, but I've brought my camera, so I might as well just take pictures. I'll see how it turns out. Yeah, quite happy with that actually. It's not an awful lot going on, so what I've done, I've really darkened it down. I've obviously bracketed it as well, just to get as much information as possible. I think what I'll do, I'll really create quite a strong vignette in Lightroom, so it really just focuses on that one kind of light area on the rock, and obviously the reflection as well off the water. But yeah, pretty good. I went for 85mm on this one, just because I don't have a huge array of lenses to choose from. Probably something a wee bit more cropped in would have been ideal, maybe a 100. But I only have a 50mm prime, 85 prime, and the 17 to 40. So I'm quite limited on my my focal length when it comes to certain subjects. And this, you don't need an awful lot of information from the surrounding area. I did mention that it was naturally framed, but the frame's slightly kind of squee biff, it's slightly off. So the 85 punches past that and just focuses specifically on the subject itself, the little tree with that light coloured moss. Not far from where I parked, I decided to come this way because I knew there was a shot here, but I've passed this place plenty of times. I've really struggled to know where to park. There's not an awful lot, there's hardly any passing places or anything, but I did find somewhere that's just up the road a wee bit and walked round to this location. You've probably seen this location plenty of times. It is absolutely gorgeous, but there's a kind of jetty going across the lake or the loch, and it kind of leads a leading line straight to where there's a little boathouse, which is beautiful. So I'm just I'm perched on the edge of the road here, so I'm not going to hang about. I'm just going to quickly take this shot. So trying a different couple of compositions here, different lenses as well. I've done one with the 50 already. I'm now on the 85 just to make things a wee bit tighter, a wee bit more compressed with the boathouse, that leading line from the jetty up to the boathouse there. It just brings that boathouse that wee bit closer and enlarges it quite a bit. Not getting the whole of the jetty for that reason, but we are getting just the very end of it, which still gives you that impression, that leading line into the water itself. Which is nice, it's ideal. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go jump to the 17 to 40 and take it down to about the 35-40, just to give it a wee bit more space and just to see the rest of the loch as well. Hopefully just a wee bit different. Whilst I'm here, as I said, I've found a place to park, so I'm just making the most of the time here. The weather's horrible, it's grey, there's no colour or anything, but the scene itself is so picturesque. You've just got to take the photo. Anyway, back home, let's have a look at the images, start editing away. I think they'll need quite a bit of editing. And yeah, another location ticked off that I'm quite happy about and certainly keen to revisit.